Hello Tech Pros, episode 102.
Whatever it is, you need to create content that people are excited about and people want to share, people want to keep wanting more. So, don't hesitate. WordPress is simple to get started nowadays.
Welcome to the podcast where I chat with professionals who are getting the job done using technology 7 days a week. Each week we start with Motivation Monday. Tuesday is about productivity, Wednesday, leadership, Thursday, technology, Friday, people and communication, Saturday, entrepreneurship, and Sunday, being unplugged. All right, let's get started. Hello, Tech Pros. This is Chad Bostic, and I'm excited to introduce our featured guest today, Hani Mourra. Happy Thursday, Hani.
Hey, thanks, Chad. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited for this.
You bet. I'm excited to have you. Hani Mourra is a dad, softwarepreneur, and creator of WordPress plugins that automate the publishing of videos, podcasts, and live videos to your WordPress site. He is extremely passionate about creating automation software to help content creators build their email list and grow their audience faster. Hani, I'm so excited to have you because this is right up my alley. I mean, if there is an audience member who is completely tuned in and listening with 100% of all their mental capacity, it's me right now, dude, because I need this stuff.
That's awesome. Well, it's going to be a fun talk. Can't wait.
Awesome. So to give you a little bit of my background, I started playing around with WordPress many years ago. I don't know, 8-9 years ago. And over the years, I've kind of had this domain name purchasing habit, bad habit, where I get this wild, crazy idea and I'm like, oh, I need this awesome thingamajig.com and I'm going to build a site around it and I'm going to blog about it and I'm going to have some kind of product or service to offer. And years and years of going out and purchasing domains, setting up a kind of minimum viable WordPress site or doing nothing with it, and then maybe blogging a few articles, maybe posting a few videos, but not really going full steam ahead with it until we fast forward to this year, 2016, and in February, late February, early March, I made the decision, you know what, I want to do this. I want to do podcasting full time, and that's going to require, email list. It's going to require a blog. It's going to require obviously the podcasting platform. But I want to grow an audience and help them, build their career, build their products, and build their businesses. And so that's what we're doing here on Hello Tech Pros. But I want to dive into your history just really briefly of why did you start working on this? So you're a softwarepreneur. I'm guessing that you develop software. What drove you to the WordPress platform itself and decide to make plugins for it?
I started a blog back in 2009 and I had no idea what I was doing. I loved video. That's all I knew. I was passionate about video. And, 2009, I was talking to a buddy of mine. He goes, you love video, start a blog, make videos teaching people how to use video. I'm like, all right, cool. So anyway, so he said, use WordPress. And of course, I'm like the engineer. So I'm like, let me evaluate all my options. And then after looking, I'm like, all right, everyone's using WordPress. That was like the easiest way to go. And so I just got hooked on WordPress from back in 2009, just from being a content creator. It was WordPress and YouTube. Those were my two platforms.
Cool. And so you were an engineer before. So software engineer or like electrical engineer?
Yeah.
What kind? Yeah,
well,
software
actually,
engineer.
Well, technically, electrical engineer was my technical degree, but it was they didn't have computer engineering as a specialty at my school. They called it computer option, which is basically electrical engineer who focuses on computers. So I've always loved computer. I've always like a techie kind of guy, and I love video. So I kind of took my engineering skills to get set up, but I focused more on the content, like creating videos. Because I love teaching people that video is not that hard and it's actually a lot of fun to create. So, blogging is my channel back then in 2009 blogging was my channel to express my creativity and I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I really am getting hooked on this media, this channel to express my creativity. I've always been an introvert. I've always been very much in the code or in the data or in the science, right, behind solving problems. And then every now and then, once every 3 months, I would stick my head up away, above the computer and go, "Oh yeah, there's actual people here. Maybe I should tell them like what I'm working on or what I'm doing."
Yeah.
But over the course of my career, the favorite part has always been having conversations with technologists and business leaders and entrepreneurs and people who are getting stuff done and learning from them. So when I decided to do the podcast, it was a natural fit because it's just like talking to my friends. I was like, "Hey, I'm talking to Hani here. We're just talking about WordPress and creating videos and making awesome content." And that's so fun. So I think, for other people out there who haven't started something like a WordPress site, a blog, a YouTube channel, videos or podcasts, there's a lot of different options and there's a lot of different kind of feel good ways to get into it, right? Pick your favorite media of choice, and it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is, and there's a lot of options now. I mean, back when I started in 2009, it was WordPress was one of the most popular choices, and then for video, it was just YouTube. Here it is: upload a video to YouTube, embed it on your site, or just write content on your blog. And those were like the go-to channels, and I think that was good for me because sometimes I get caught up. I'm an engineer, so I'm like, all right, let me evaluate all the options and see what should I put my video on Vimeo or YouTube or this and that. But it was a lot simpler, and it was actually a good thing because it forced me just to focus on the content because that's what really matters. Build really great content. Like it doesn't have to be high production, but it has to have high value in it. And focus on that, and then just put it on the most popular platforms, which back then was just YouTube. I just put it on YouTube. I didn't bother, putting on other platforms. I'm sure I would have got some trickle effect, but YouTube was just the most bang for your buck. So I kept it simple, and that's definitely my advice for anybody who's thinking of getting started. Keep it very simple. Don't worry about there's a million gazillion channels out there, and Instagram and Facebook, and there's a lot of you can get overwhelmed. So if you just keep it simple. Have a little system in place where you put create a blog post, make a video, put it here, kind of decide on your workflow and stick with it. And then you can always go back and improve your system as you go along.
Awesome advice. And I love how you talked about how when you first got started, what the landscape was like back then, because that's a great segue into today's topic, which is on Technology Thursday. We always talk about the past, the present, and the future of technology. So, Hani, maybe you could talk about what the landscape of media and blogging and WordPress was like back when you first got into it in 2009. So, like you said, YouTube was like the de facto video standard, and if you're going to make videos, you put it there. But as far as blogging and the tools and the plugins and everything else that was available, what was your life like as a media creator when you're trying to publish this content?
Back in 2009, basically, I started my first WordPress site. That was actually easy because my hosting provider had made it easy for us to start a WordPress site. But I learned actually that it wasn't available. Not all hosting providers made it easy to start a WordPress site. But now, like I'm jumping ahead now, they call it a one-click install. It's literally one click, and your hosting provider will have a WordPress site set up for you. Mm-hmm. So just from between back then and now, I was lucky. I was with a hosting provider, DreamHost, that they had a one-click option, but not many had a one-click install. So even getting WordPress set up and get going was tricky, and could have been tricky for a beginner who's never done it before. Compared nowadays, it's super easy. Almost every single provider will give you one click. So right off the bat, from a WordPress perspective, it's a world of a difference. You can get your WordPress site up in less than 5 minutes. You just click a button and you wait 5 minutes, and they send you your link to log into your site. So getting WordPress set up is a ton easier. But back then, so after you got your WordPress site, I don't remember what plugins I was using, but basically I had to do things manually. Like I wouldn't say manually, but you had to make a WordPress post, then make your video, and then upload your video to YouTube. That's what I was doing, and do some keyword research and optimize your video on YouTube in terms of text, title, description, and then wait for it to finish publishing, copy the embed code, make a new post on your site, paste the embed code that YouTube gave you. So it's a lot of almost like duplicate work,
Right.
In a sense that you'd have to go in and create the blog post. And, things are doing manually, but there's tools now. One of the tools I created was actually for that reason. Like, I hated that step of uploading to YouTube and then going and copying the embed code and then creating a new blog post, pasting the embed code, yada, yada, yada. So that was kind of my inspiration a couple of years later of doing a lot of videos saying, you know what, I wish I can automate that step. So it's I would say a lot of manual work, a lot of themes. I honestly, I almost like draw a blank. I can't remember what theme I was using, but things are so much easier now. And I really recommend, if you're going to get started with WordPress, you've never done it before, get a theme. Don't hesitate to buy a theme. And I even recommend paying for a theme as opposed to getting one for free. It's because you're going to get support from the developers or the company that makes it. And you're paying for a quality product. So a lot of free stuff. I hear a lot of funny stories about free themes that have like built-in malware into the theme that you download that you don't even know, and then so it's not worth it. You spend the $50, maybe even $97, whatever. Just get it. You don't install a theme every day, right? You do it one time. Once every couple of years, you might switch your theme. So invest the money in the theme for sure.
And it probably depends on the goal of the individual, right? If they just want a minimal website just to kind of post, thoughts once a week, but really don't have the plans to grow an audience or sell products or do anything, turn it into a business, but they just want a way to express themselves creatively, there's probably a lot easier steps or simpler steps, fewer steps to get started, right? You just kind of like open it up, crack the thing, download your theme or install your theme and just start writing or just start posting your videos or whatever. So when you were doing your videos, I think a natural question would be, why, Hani, were you doing the duplicate content, like trying to move the videos that were on YouTube and embed them on a WordPress site to have like the same content on a blog? What was the value that you were trying to get?
For me, my goal was to have people, my end goal was to have people sign up for my email list. That was my end goal. So I created content and then I've always added an email opt-in box either in the sidebar or in the post itself, inviting people to sign up for my email list. That's the biggest value for me, is I can get a more personal connection. I can communicate with them via email and build that relationship with your audience. On YouTube, you can't really put an email. You can't put an email opt-in box, but you can put a link back to your site in the description of YouTube. So the way I treated YouTube was almost like a channel sending traffic to my website. So every video was linked back to the blog post on my site, and then on the video itself, on my blog post, I had an email opt-in box below the video.
Okay, gotcha. So I have a friend, Jeff Souders, and he was on a prior episode. I don't know the number right now, but he's created a YouTube channel just recently where he does a lot of drone videos. So he's a drone pilot and airplane pilot and a budding photographer, and he's got some really, really cool drone footage that he's been sharing with me, and I've subscribed to his YouTube channel. And I've thought, and I've kind of talked to him, hey, dude, you might want to put together a website for this, for these kind of reasons, for email lists and stuff like that. And he's like, I don't know, I just want to shoot videos. So what would be the main reason, like if you could speak to Jeff right now or people in the same situation, like why do we want to have an email list? Why do we want to point our videos or our Instagrams or whatever we have back to a website where we're trying to capture email addresses?
Well, it depends on your end game. Like if you want to, like if you just want someone watching your video, maybe leaving a comment and maybe never coming back again, you're just happy with the people randomly coming in and watching videos, or maybe subscribing to your YouTube channel to get some of your videos, which I'm not sure how effective that is. I mean, it's good to have subscribers. If you're just interested in just getting the content for people to watch, that's great. But if you want to, learn more about your audience, you want to maybe offer a product or a service down the road, or you want to maybe tailor your content to what your actual viewers want. Like you want a channel to talk to them, and the best way is through email.
Awesome. And so back then, you talked about you were doing all this. It was a very manual process. So back in the day, you had to copy and paste code over from YouTube to WordPress, and you had to set up each page individually and stuff like that. So now let's switch to the present. In the present, you've got some automation tools that you've built. So as an engineer, you said you love tinkering with stuff and building some automation. So tell us about the products that you've built that are helping entrepreneurs and helping bloggers and YouTube video posters today.
Yeah, so 2013, I think it was. A couple years after I've been blogging, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, blogging was fun, but I wanted to kind of make a product or service out of it. And my first instinct was, hey, you love video. Why don't you create a tool that will solve people's pain or help people with video? And my first instinct was to look within, like what am I doing on my video blog, and what kind of tool can help me? And like I mentioned earlier, one of my frustrations was it felt kind of silly going in and going to YouTube after uploading the video. I'd go to YouTube, copy all the title, description, embed code. I thought, hey, can I automate this? That would be awesome. And that's when I started digging around into the APIs and all that technical stuff. And I thought, hey, it is possible. I can totally automate the process. I can upload to YouTube, and then that's it. Within an hour or so, I can have a brand new blog post with the video embedded, with an email opt-in box, all just magically appear on my site.
Awesome. It sounds a lot simpler. How much time does this save you from when you were doing everything manually to now when you're posting videos today?
5 to 10 minutes. I mean, it's not like hours of work, but it's per video. So if you're doing a lot of videos, it can definitely add up and save up. If you already have a YouTube channel that you want to suck in all your 500 videos off of YouTube and embed them on your site, you can have a blog post. You can have a full blog with 500 pages or posts with the videos embedded within minutes automatically. You can click a button and it will suck in all your YouTube videos onto your site. So it's not only good for people who are publishing now, it's also good for anybody who wants to start a site and embed their YouTube videos and onto their site, onto a brand new site.
Awesome. That sounds like a great solution for someone who maybe they started like my friend Jeff. Maybe they started as just, hey, this is kind of a hobby. I want to express myself creatively. I want to put some videos up here and just tinker around with it. But now over the course of, 6 months, a year, 3 years, whatever they've done, they now have a ton of content out there on YouTube, right? And they're sitting on maybe dozens or maybe hundreds of videos out on YouTube. Maybe they're getting in a little, advertising money from YouTube. Maybe they're getting a few dollars kickback, every month from YouTube. But now they're like, you know what? Hani's pointed me in this direction where if I had a conversation with my audience, the people who are listening to this, if I had an email list of subscribers who I could talk to and ask them about their problems, their product, what products or services they needed to either do the same thing I'm doing and drone videos or something like that, or something else, whatever you're doing. They go, yeah, okay, now I want to start a website, but gosh, how am I going to manually import these 500 videos that I've been doing over the last 3 years? That sounds like a ton of work.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly, that solves that one problem. Literally within minutes, you would have a full blog with videos, with a new page or a new post, they call it in WordPress, a new post for every single video. And then any comments as well. Any comments on YouTube will automatically get imported as comments on your blog as well.
Awesome. So
video comments and email opt-in box as well.
Wow, that's cool. So it's not just videos, right? So I kind of peeked at your websites, and you got a lot of different solutions for a lot of different types of people. So yeah, you want to talk a little bit about the podcasting press and some of the other tools you've got?
All right. So the product that I was just talking about was called Simple Video Press, and that was my first product. But then I took it beyond video. So I got into video because I liked video, and then I started working with podcasters who were working with videos, converted them to audios, So I got involved in podcasting. So about a year later, a simple podcast press was born, and the idea was the same. The idea was take your podcast episodes and put them on your WordPress site, and it comes with a podcast player, and it comes with the email opt-in box and buttons for people to they can subscribe to you and follow you. And the goal here again was to get the content on your site, but also to capture the email addresses and build your audience that way as well. So they all have the same theme, the video one, the podcasting one, to get the content on your site. So you're almost like repurposing a video or a podcast episode. But more importantly, you get the chance to capture their email email address through an opt-in box below the player.
Cool, gotcha. So this is kind of like a one-stop shop to get everything that you need to get people hooked up from your media that you've created in the beginning to now getting on your email list. Exactly.
It creates the content on your site, and it embeds the players with audio or video, and then it also adds the email capture box. And it's all automatic. You don't even need to log into your WordPress site. You could, if you wanted to add more meat to the episode, like add more show notes, for example, to your podcast, you can go back in and add more content, or set it as a draft, add more content, and then publish it. But if you wanted to be completely hands-free, you can just set it up so that it's fully publishes to your WordPress site.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, Hani, we've been talking about the past and the present of these different medias and blogging tools and the options that you have. In just a moment, I want to ask you about the future of these technologies. But first, we're going to take a quick break and thank our sponsors. This episode of Hello Tech Pros is sponsored by Birdeen. Siri and OK Google are fun for party tricks, but 97% of smartphone users don't like talking to their phones in public. It's kind of weird. When was the last time you were at the mall and heard someone say, "Siri, what's my wife's dress size?" Or, "OK Google, where did I park my car?" Some things are better left unspoken. Birdeen remembers the things you care about and reminds you discreetly through text messages. Names, dates, places, ideas, to-do lists. Birdeen never forgets and is always there to remind you. You don't need to install an app, just text Birdeen a statement and she'll remember. Text her a question and she'll answer. Birdeen is the only contact you have to have on your phone. Meet Birdeen at birdeen.com. That's BURDENE.com, or text Birdeen to 480-418-1411. Outside the U.S., be sure to use the country code +1. So for non-U.S. residents, text +1 480-418-1411 with a message Birdeen. Okay, we're back with Hani Mourra. We've been talking to Hani about WordPress and plugins, and specifically around content creation outside of WordPress. So if you're making YouTube videos, if you're making podcasts that are hosted somewhere else, like Libsyn or SoundCloud or something like that, that is the fun. That is the fun part of this job, right? Is having these conversations and creating that media and putting it out there. But there's a whole nother piece of that job, which is creating blog posts and one post per episode. And so Hani's made some really awesome automation tools to help you kind of batch convert all of your past episodes and move them to individual posts on WordPress, or kind of keep it up. Once you've batched import, now you can keep up with things. So Hani, we've got new technology coming out all the time. We've got Snapchat, we've got Periscope. Oh, Periscope is out now. It's Facebook Live videos. It's something new all the time, and we're trying to have these conversations, if you will, with our audience and build audience on different platforms. The audience keeps moving around to other platforms, and we're trying to figure out what's the best way to engage with them. So what are your thoughts on the future and the trends of just how we're engaging with users in general, and how we as content providers should keep up with that?
Yeah, things are changing really, really fast, but it's exciting though. Exciting. The way I see it is you need to focus on where your audience is. So if you're a lot of big followings on your fan pages, or your personal profile on Facebook, then maybe Facebook Live is where you should be. If you don't have a big Facebook following, you have a Twitter following, maybe no, Periscope's still around, but I'm not sure how many people use Periscope. But I mean, it's a huge. But now people are shifting Facebook Live, so you got to pick where your audience is. And really, at the end of the day, all you're doing is you're having a conversation. So whether you're doing a video that you're uploading, so it's kind of like a delayed conversation. You're talking, but they might watch it a little bit later, or you're having an audio conversation through a podcast. They may listen, the next day or so, or you're having a live conversation like a Facebook Live or a Periscope. You're still having a conversation. So I think people just the way it looks like people like things instantly, right? They want to see the person behind the podcast, or you want to see their favorite celebrity, quote unquote celebrity, or someone they're following. They want to talk to them in a natural way. So live video is very, very hot right now, and it's very easy to do. That's why it's so hot. You don't have to, make a video, then upload it and edit it. It's raw. Like this is me behind the scenes, or this is me in my room talking, giving you, a look about what's coming up next in my podcast. This is just me. This is me, the real me, right? So live video is cool that way, because as a content creator, of course you have to prepare what you're going to talk about, but you don't have to worry about editing and the whole uploading process. It's just you get on the camera, you say your thing, and you interact and you talk, like having a conversation with somebody. So I think live broadcasting it is now like the hottest thing, because it's so easy for a content creator to do it. Like Facebook, Periscope, just your smartphone, you fire it up and you go. And it's easy for people to consume, right? You're scrolling down your news feed and you see, Hanis live on Facebook. Let's just watch what he's got to say for a few seconds. It's very easy for someone to get hooked on you and listen to consume your content while you're doing it live. So I think live video is very hot right now.
So does that mean that our need to have these websites with an email capture box in them to have conversations via email to our audience, is that going away because now we're having like really live conversations, like face-to-face conversations with our audience? Or is there still going to be a need for email and websites in the future?
I think there's always been a need for email lists from, I started in 2009, but this is even way before then. There's always been preaching, grow your email list. And to me, the engagement on an email list is way greater. I mean, you might get a lot of people watching, especially live now. It's still new. People are excited. They might watch, click on your Facebook Live and watch you, but they may not take any action. They may not click your links. They might not see what products you're offering. If you have any kind of offer, they may not actually engage or interact, but you get a lot of views. You get a lot of eyeballs on your content when you do live, especially nowadays, because it's so new and it's exciting. I like to see what the person behind the product or the person behind the service is really like what's he up to? It's kind of human nature, right? Let's see what this guy's up to. But definitely, it's almost like the content's a little different. Like when you're live, you're like, you're having conversations. When you make a video or you make content for your site, you're building some content that kind of lasts for a long time, that gives value for a very long time. So people keep coming back, or people share that link so you can come back to it. So what you say on live versus what you do maybe on a video or pre-recorded video or a podcast will be slightly different, because you're talking to them not at different times, not in real time. I know I probably made it more complicated than it is, but you have to know that when you're talking live to somebody, you need to entertain them. Otherwise, they're going to just tune out quickly.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It kind of relates to me back to if we're going to trade shows or conferences. Let's say that you and I are going to go hang out at a programming conference, right? Well, the folks that are getting up on stage, they're talking to us live, face to face, if you will. They're giving a presentation, and we can interact. Maybe there's a microphone where we can ask questions, or maybe there's a feedback, thing that we can provide feedback, like a little card to drop in a feedback box at the end of the presentation or something like that. But still, that was just kind of a passive one-way conversation for a period of time. But it's really kind of the icebreaker. It's really just kind of like, hey, Hani's presenting. He has some awesome information. He knows a lot. I need to find out more about this stuff. Like, I need to ask him more about how to create a website or how to make really awesome YouTube videos, right? And so I want to take that conversation offline because I can't ask him all the things that I want to ask him while he's up on stage or even right there at the conference. I want to come back later and say, hey, dude, I had some questions about the stuff you were presenting. And I think that's where kind of the websites and the emails are still going to have that longevity. We're always going to need them, is because no matter where you're first interacting with those subscribers or those viewers or listeners, it's just kind of an icebreaker conversation that will lead to additional conversations sometime in the future.
You nailed it. You said it perfectly. That's exactly it. So these are just channels to get people's attention, to get eyeballs, but then you want to send them to your site so they can get on your email list, and then you can have that deeper conversation with them via email.
Well, Hani, speaking of which, how can we have a deeper conversation with you? So our audience is probably chomping at the bit. I know several of them are like, you know what? I've got some YouTube videos. You know what? I've got some podcasts that I've done. I want to find out more about how to automate this process and streamline it and get an email list set up. So how can our audience reach out and connect with you online?
Probably the best way is to go to hanimourra.com. It's still a brand new site. I'm still building it, but it talks. I have links to all the tools that we talked about, and some other tools we didn't talk about as well. And there's the option to connect with me on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook, I hang out more on Facebook, so I'd love to chat with you on Facebook as well. But yeah, just go to hanimourra.com. It's HANIMOURRA.com, and there's links to the products that I've created, the tools, my Facebook. And my Twitter accounts. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. And do you have any final words of wisdom for the audience?
Just focus on content. Focus on creating content, whatever you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable on camera, start a blog. If you're comfortable on camera and you're not comfortable live, just do videos and upload them on YouTube. Whatever it is, you need to create content that people are excited about and people want to share. People want to keep wanting more. So don't hesitate. WordPress is simple to get started nowadays, and there's a lot of tools to help you, throughout the process as well. So get started is my final word.
Awesome. Hani, thank you so much for joining me on Hello Tech Pros today. I really value your insight and your background and stories, and appreciate you taking time out of your busy Thursday to spend time with us.
My pleasure. It was a lot of fun.
And Tech Pros, remember, even if you're in a 9-to-5 job, even if you're doing whatever work that you're doing, there's an opportunity to grow your career and to get more exposure and to kind of build demand for your work, for your product, whether it's software development or whether it's you're a DBA or whether you're a server admin or you're a manager, wherever you're at. If you don't already have something public that you're sharing where people can find you, either just messages out on LinkedIn, like some blogs on LinkedIn, or a website, or a podcast, or videos, or something, I would really, really challenge you to start creating stuff or think about what you can create and just share what you know out there. You'll start building an audience, which will help you either build some side income or help you gain some popularity to help you in your career. And whatever you do, check out Hani's stuff. You can find it again. That's hanimourra.com, and I'll have that linked up in the show notes page here at hellotechpros.com/102. This is episode 102, and thank you so much. Take care.
The show notes page for this episode can be found at hellotechpros.com/102. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review, subscribe to this channel, and check back tomorrow. This has been Technology Thursday, but tomorrow my featured guest and I discuss people and communication. On Saturday, we talk entrepreneurship, Sunday, being unplugged, Monday, motivation, Tuesday, productivity, Wednesday, leadership, and back again on Thursday to discuss technology once again. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.